latest Jailbreak update added in yet another robbery to the game in the form of the mansion. But how does this robbery stack up against the many others the game already has? That's what I'm going to evaluate in this video, where I rank every robbery from worst to best. Keep in mind, I'm mainly ranking the robberies based on the amount of money they give, as well as how enjoyable and how fun I find them to be. I also include how well I think they are designed, both visually and in the form of their obstacles. I also want to clarify that yes, I will be including the donut shop and the gas station in this ranking, though I will include them as one entry. I will also include the airdrops and the bank truck. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe. I want to hit 6,000 subs before the end of the year. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Easily coming in last place for me is the cargo train. Now, this robbery started off bad as it was incredibly buggy and very difficult to rob. Then it actually got really good after the devs finally fixed the bug. However, ever since the passenger train update, it has gotten worse and worse, and now it is at the very bottom of my robbery ranking. The most frustrating thing about it to me are the lasers inside the box cars. Because the physics are a little wonky, it's so easy to get nudged into them by another player, and it's so frustrating. I have died to those lasers so many times. I really wish there was a way to disable collisions inside the train somehow. Likewise, the amount of money this robbery gives is just way too little for the risk it poses. The cars with lasers should at least give more money considering how difficult they are, and overall, anytime I see this train, I just skip it entirely, as I can get the hyperchromes from the passenger train, which is much easier to rob. Then we've got the passenger train. I saw this as an inferior version of the cargo train for quite a while, and I was always annoyed that it gave us the museum bag. Now though, since we're free to use weapons when collecting money, I don't despise it as much, though I still think it's pretty mediocre. It only gives us 3,000 J-Bucks, 1,500 if you don't have the boss game pass, though this robbery is really easy, so I don't really think it needs to give much more than that. I'm not gonna go out of my way to rob it if I see it spawn in. I'm just gonna rob something else. I only rob this place if absolutely nothing else is open. Then we have the bank truck. I think it's really cool how this robbery forces criminals and cops to fight each other over one source of payout, and it utilizes a lot of cool mechanics, like the C4. In general, I think this is a pretty cool concept. However, I feel like it falls short in a lot of ways in execution. By the time criminals actually catch up to the robbery, the timer has gone down significantly, resulting in a lower payout. Likewise, by the time you get there, cops have already been inside and have collected a lot of money, so when you kill them, you effectively destroy a lot of the payout. I think this robbery could be much better if the money that the cops collected goes back into the bank truck when they're killed. I just think it's a total waste to have it gone completely. Up next, we have the donut shop and the gas station. There's really not much to say on these two. You just run up and hold E and you get a amount of cash that I think is fitting enough for the amount of work you have to do. The free donut and energy drink are nice bonuses. There's not really anything wrong with these robberies. They're just so small that they're not really worth it for me, so I can't really put them that high. Then we've got the cargo plane. In my opinion, this is the most mid jailbreak robbery. I don't hate it, I just think it's kind of bland. There's not much interesting to it. You have to go to the airport, wait for it to land, wait for the door to open, wait for the crates to appear, wait for the door to close, and then wait until the E circle shows up. This robbery just involves a lot of waiting, and it can make me pretty impatient. Even though it might take less time than other robberies like the jewelry store, it still doesn't have quite the amount of action that I feel like jailbreak robberies need. However, I can't deny that it's not too much work for a pretty decent payout. And I think it's notable that this robbery gives the same amount of money for non-Game Pass owners. So it's a good way for freebies to make cash. Therefore, I do think this robbery has quite a bit of merit. Up next, we have the bank. The first jailbreak robbery, in my opinion, is still one of the most interesting. I really like that it has a variety of vaults, each with a different obby and amount of cash that they give. I also like the feature of cops being able to bust bank robberies. I think that adds an interesting challenge to it. However, I'm gonna be honest, I think some of the vaults give way too little cash, and I think the money goes up way too slowly. In some vaults like this, I think going up by $50 is pretty frustrating. I think this robbery is really cool, but the small payout it gives doesn't make it worth the high risk in my opinion. Then we have the jewelry store. This is another classic jailbreak robbery, and I still find it's really cool. I've always been a big fan of the design revamps it has gotten over the years. I just love the ways that the developers are making it more cool and interesting. I'm a big fan of the randomly generated obstacles that you have to face. I think this adds a lot of interesting stuff to it. Though to be honest, I do wish the money would scale with the difficulty of the obby because this robbery takes quite a bit of time to do, and I don't feel it's always worth it. Also, I really wish it would alert you when cops got inside because for a while now, cops have been able to use a helicopter glitch to get inside, and Asimo does not have any intention of fixing that. So I just wish he would add an official way to get inside and alert all criminals whenever cops do get in. That level of risk, plus the payout, which isn't as much as I would like it to be, does hold it back for me, but I still like this robbery a lot. And in 7th place, we have the Tomb. Visually, I'm a huge fan of this robbery. It looks absolutely awesome, and you can tell that the devs spent a lot of time working on this robbery and fully polishing it. Every stage of it looks fantastic, and it's awesome seeing how far the devs' design skills have come. This robbery also gives an awesome amount of cash. It gives 7,000 J-Bucks, which is already a lot, but what's really cool is that it gives the same amount of money even for people who don't own the duffel bag. However, what holds this robbery back for me is how repetitive it has gotten. I've robbed it so many times and now it's just kind of boring to do, as the obstacles are so easy to get past and it's just not that fun anymore. Also, it is annoying to get 3 people to open it up, as a lot of times jailbreak players are off doing who knows what. However, the amount of cash given and the overall look and design of the robbery is really good, so that pulls it up higher than other robberies on the list. Then we have the museum. I have so much nostalgia for this robbery as I started playing the game around the time it was added, and I still like it quite a bit. One of my favorite things about it is how it forces you to work with other criminals. To straight up activate it, you need one other person to help you, and to get out, you need to work with other criminals and pull both sides of the lever. I just think that's pretty cool. That's easily the best thing going for it in my opinion. I do think the lasers are pretty decent, and I like all the cool Easter eggs to other jailbreak stuff. However, I do wish it got a little bit more of a shakeup when the devs revamped it. It's been pretty much exactly the same since it was added 4.5 years ago, and I think it's gotten pretty boring now. I still think it's pretty well made, I just wish there was something changed up about it, maybe making the puzzles at the side more interesting. However, it gives a lot of money, and I still enjoy it quite a bit, so that's why it comes in this spot. Then we have the power plant. The obby part of it is not that interesting. It's pretty short and it's gotten so easy to do since I've been doing it for 2.5 years. However, the main things I like about it are the puzzle that you need to solve to get the uranium. I like that it's randomly generated and it's pretty cool, and it makes you use more than 0.01% of your brain. And my favorite part about it is how after you finish, you need to get back to the volcano base as fast as you can. I think this adds a really interesting dynamic to it, and there are so many different ways you can accomplish this. It adds a level of strategy to this robbery. Many people have calculated specific routes or vehicles to use to get the most money possible, and I just find that pretty interesting. If you turn it in on time, I think the payout is definitely really substantial. So, I think this definitely pulls the robbery up by a lot. Then we've got airdrops. I was very skeptical of the idea of NPCs coming to Jailbreak, but surprisingly, they made it work pretty well. Once we got past the immense lag that these guys brought to the game, I really appreciated the new and unique challenge they brought. They're kind of like a mini challenge, and I always enjoy teaming up with other people and taking them on. I love that there are different tiers of airdrops that give different kinds of rewards, and I find them to be very lucrative. I do wish Boss Game Pass owners would get notified when they do come in, because it's very easy to miss airdrops. And I think it would be cool if the airdrops scale to the amount of players in the area, because it's kind of impossible to rob them on your own. Therefore, I skip these entirely when I'm playing on my own, but whenever I'm playing with friends, we always make sure to go after these, and I really enjoy them. Next, we've got the casino. Out of all the jailbreak robberies, to me this one feels the most like a heist. There are so many different steps to it which I really enjoy. First, you have to find the code in the lobby then you need to disable the security, then you need to go down, crack the safe, and collect enough money whilst getting it before the timer runs out. There's so many different things you have to do for it that I think add a lot to this robbery. It also is very lucrative. It gives 8,000 J-Bucks for people who own the Game Pass, which is awesome. For non-Game Pass owners, I'm not sure if it's quite as worth it, but it still gives a pretty good amount. I was considering putting this in first place, but what's so frustrating about this robbery to me is the initial part with the codes. The area in the lobby with the crowns everywhere just looks really ugly, and I don't like that the codes are hidden among the crowns. They're so hard to spot in this area. This aspect of it is so frustrating in my opinion, but other than that, I do really enjoy this robbery. Next we have the cargo ship. Ever since it was added, this robbery has always been one of my favorites. I really like the interesting challenge it provides. You have to use a helicopter to rob it, which is already making it different from other robberies, and you need to find a way to evade those cannons, as they can take down your helicopter pretty easily. It also gives a really good payout, and coupled with the recently added robbery bonus rolls, I think this is a real moneymaker. Now, if this robbery gave hyperchromes, it probably would be my number one. But the thing is, it doesn't. I think this really holds the robbery back, and now I'm not compelled to rob it quite as often. If I see it open, I'm just going to rob something else that will give a hyperchrome. I think that's a real detriment to it. But other than that, I think it's really well made, and I still enjoy it quite a bit. So that's why it ends up in second place. But for me, the best jailbreak robbery is the brand new mansion. Now, I'm gonna admit, this could be an example of recency bias, and it might go down a few spots in the next ranking. But as of right now, I think this is the best robbery in the game. First off, I think the way it's integrated with airdrops is pretty genius. It gives a whole new reason to do airdrops now, and I think it's a brilliant way to give players the invitation. Next, the actual obby part itself that you need to get through is pretty cool in my opinion. I like that you need to avoid those pressure plates, and I nearly stepped on them a couple times. As for the boss fight itself, I was really concerned as Jailbreak had never had any boss fights before, but it was executed really well. I think the animations of the boss himself look awesome, and Supernob, the modeler, did an awesome job, and the boss fight itself is very fun. It's not difficult at all, but it's not that easy either. I love all the different kinds of attacks he uses, whether it's him shooting the laser or him targeting one person with his arm. Again, I also think it's cool how this robbery really forces people to work together to take down this guy. Finally, after you beat the boss, you get an awesome amount of money. 19,000 if you have the VIP, and I think 16,000 for everybody else. You can also get hyperchromes and a bunch of cool items from him as well. Overall, I really enjoy this robbery, and anytime I see it open, my friends and I always make sure to go rob it due to the immense payout and the fun it gives us. I think this robbery is a total win, so for me, it comes in number one. But that's gonna be it for my ranking of every jailbreak robbery. What do you think? Which robberies are your favorite? Which ones do you always make sure to rob? Make sure to tell me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think you can help make this happen. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and have happy holidays.